Here's an oldie from the shelf, Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire. This is a first edition, first printing. I saw it on a bookshelf in 1995. The idea was clever, the book was gorgeous, and that's what I'll be talking about today. Hey everybody. With the Wicked movie opening in theaters this weekend, there seemed no better time to discuss this novel right here, the book that started it all. This video will be a lot shorter than my first bookshelf video about Tad Williams, because there's only one book here instead of 20, but also because I just don't remember enough detail to talk about it at length. In fact, I had to get out my stepladder because this book was on a very high shelf. Unfortunately, I don't yet have a floor-to-ceiling ladder on wheels that allows me to glide back and forth singing songs, but someday. Instead of talking about how gorgeous this book is, I'm just going to show it to you. I recently learned the term keyhole cover, and that technique is applied beautifully on the dust jacket, but in all honesty, it was the illustration on the cover itself that made me buy it at the time, even though I couldn't really afford it. The year was 1995. I was in college at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. One of the many bookstores on campus was called TIS, and I would peruse its shelves between classes, mostly looking for fantasy books. That's when I found Wicked. The idea of retelling a story from the point of view of its villain seemed particularly unique to me at the time. I knew a little of Oz, but not much beyond the movie, the Wizard of Oz movie. I thought the idea seemed interesting and clever, but honestly, I never expected to like it as much as I ultimately did. And to that point, I think the book design itself drew me in at the bookstore as much or more so than the story. This dust jacket is pretty normal. I paid $24 for it at TIS in 1995. Underneath the dust jacket, it's a little, you gotta be very careful here. This one's getting a little old. Look how young Gregory Maguire was. Okay. Underneath the dust jacket, you have this beautifully glossy illustration. You've got, here, let's see. You've got Dorothy's Twister in the background. You've got baby flying monkeys. You've got animals that would play a pretty significant part in the book and in the story, but I didn't know that at the time. And inside, you have glorious plates. You've got maps. You have illustrated headers on every page with the chapter title, the book title. You have these nice footers toward the bottom at each page. It's everything a fantasy fan could want. It's everything a book lover could want. Compared to most of the books I'd seen at the time, it seemed someone put a lot of love and attention into the inner page design, and I absolutely loved it. I was excited when the Broadway musical launched, partly because I had a first edition copy of the book, and I thought, hey, that can't hurt its value, can it? I didn't see the musical until it came to Chicago. I remember being a little disappointed because some of my favorite aspects of the book felt glossed over in the musical. If you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're already familiar with the story, so I won't do any recaps, and I couldn't do them justice anyway. But some of the themes of propaganda and oppression and enslavement kind of took a back seat in the musical. At least that's how I remember it. And they played such a big part in this story and conveying how Elphaba felt about the world and her consideration for less fortunate souls than herself, despite, the difficulties she faced. So I thought that was just such a beautiful sentiment and is allegory the right word for issues that we have in the real world? And I loved it. And again, I felt it was done a disservice in the musical, but I will definitely watch the movie at some point. One, because my partner is a musical theater nerd. 2, because I did like the book. And 3, because the cinematography looks absolutely stunning. Just gorgeous. And I can't wait to see that on my screen. And at that point, maybe I can revisit the pros and cons of the musical. But that's about it. I just wanted to highlight this one during a peak in its pop culture awareness. If there's ever a time to discuss this book, now is that time. That's my copy of Wicked, first edition, first printing, purchased right off the bookshelf as a new-ish release. I read this copy here. It's a bit damaged, carried around in my backpack in college, but that's okay. It's mine. It's a memory that's not for sale. I love retelling this story, and I am thrilled to have it on my bookshelf. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the movie, and if you haven't, be sure to read the book. Kevin out.